So let's talk about that specific nightmare scenario. You're setting up a big space, say a conference room.
Or a sports bar, yeah.
Exactly. And you have maybe 6 different video sources, laptops, cameras, media players, you name it. And they all need to go to 2 different screens.
Right.
But here's the kicker. One screen is right there, but the other one is, I don't know, 100 feet away, hanging from the ceiling.
And that is the classic AV headache. You are literally fighting physics. I mean, HDMI is amazing for bandwidth, but it just has zero stamina for distance.
It just falls off a cliff.
A digital cliff, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't just fade, it's just gone. 1 minute it's there, the next it's a black screen.
Which is why we're doing a deep dive on the Kramer VS-62DT today. Now, that's a mouthful. It's technically a 6x2 4K 60 HDMI HDBaseT matrix switcher.
And that name, it's very utilitarian, but the box itself is really a Swiss Army knife for this exact problem.
It seems to be tackling 3 things at once: the routing, the distance, and the power.
Right, and the matrix part is where it all starts.
Yeah.
It's not a splitter, that's key.
Okay, so a splitter just duplicates one signal to many outputs.
Exactly. This is more like a traffic controller. You've got 6 inputs, 2 independent outputs. You can have, say, the big game on the main projector and a totally different feed on the local monitor. And swap them anytime.
And that's where the real secret sauce is, I think, how it handles those 2 outputs. One is just a standard HDMI, but the other one, output 2, is HDBaseT on an RJ45 connector, like an Ethernet port.
And that is the game changer for any professional install. HDBaseT lets us take that huge uncompressed 4K signal and just shoot it over standard Ethernet cable.
Like a Cat 6 cable you'd have lying around?
A Cat 6, a Cat 6A, yeah. And we're talking about running it for 100 meters, maybe more, without a single hiccup. You just cannot do that with a copper HDMI cable. It's impossible.
So you're basically turning a cheap, common cable into this high-def video pipeline. But it's not just a passive thing, is it? Seeing here that it's also a PoE provider.
This is huge. For the person actually doing the installation, this is a lifesaver.
Okay, so explain that.
Well, normally you'd have a little receiver box behind that projector on the ceiling. And that box needs power, so you have to find an outlet up there, run another cable. Then it gets messy.
You're trying to hide a power brick in the ceiling mount.
Yes. But since this matrix pushes power over Ethernet, that's PoE, the receiver at the far end gets all its juice straight from the matrix itself, down the same cable.
So, wait, it's one single cable for everything: video, audio control, and power.
All of it. It cleans up the infrastructure so much.
Okay, but I have to ask about signal integrity. I mean, pushing 4K video at 60 hertz over twisted pair cabling sounds you've got to be dealing with signal loss, jitter.
Jitter is the absolute enemy here.
Yeah.
If the timing of those digital ones and zeros gets off by even a tiny fraction, the whole image just collapses.
So how does Kramer solve that?
They have this tech they call reclocking and equalization technology.
And to be clear, that's not just amplification, right? Because amplifying a noisy signal just gives you a louder, noisy signal.
Precisely. Amplification is a blunt instrument. Reclocking is it's surgical.
How so?
It actually strips the signal down, it looks at the timing, and it regenerates the digital clock. It literally rebuilds the data stream from scratch, so when it arrives at the display, it's pristine again.
So the 4K 4.2.0 color arrives looking like it should, not like a snowy mess.
That's the goal. That's the pro-grade reliability.
Speaking of pro features, what about the automation? I see it has this advanced auto AV switching. Sounds like it's designed to keep people from having to call the IT guy every 5 minutes.
It's the set it and forget it feature. You can just tell it, switch to whatever was plugged in last. So a presenter walks into the room, plugs in their laptop.
And it just works. The screen just shows their desktop.
The matrix detects the active signal and switches automatically. No remote needed.
But if you do need manual control, you've got everything. RS-232, IR, and even a built-in web page.
Which brings us to the price. The value. It lists for around $1,200, $1,300.
Which, for a home user, sounds steep.
Very steep. But you have to look at what you aren't buying.
That's the key, right? You aren't buying a matrix switch and an HDBaseT transmitter and a separate power injector for the receiver.
It's 3 or 4 boxes consolidated into one. When you factor in the time and labor savings of not running extra power lines, the math starts to look really good for a business.
And it simplifies the points of failure. Fewer boxes mean fewer things that can break.
Absolutely.
It's a really solid piece of engineering. But this whole conversation about squeezing every last bit of performance out of copper cables, It makes me wonder.
The future, yeah.
We're using tech like reclocking to just barely get 4K across a large room on copper. But 8K is already here, and it needs 4 times the bandwidth.
It's a massive jump.
So it makes you wonder, are we finally hitting the absolute physical wall for copper cables? Is the next generation of this kind of gear going to have to ditch the RJ45 port entirely and just be all fiber optics to keep up?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Something to think about.
Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.